So yesterday I got into a debate with a subscriber of mine. I was talking about how I had been treated unfairly at work just because of my status, and how here in the United States and even in other countries, a big contentious subject that is discussed at the workplace is any sort of work-life balance, right? People want to be able to take care of their families. Right now in the United States, the idea of family leave is up for debate, right? Well, it has been for many decades now. But I used to believe, and I still do, but I'm going to expand on that in a second. I used to believe that if people who are in families should be able to balance that with their work, people who are looking for somebody to start a family with should also get accommodations to allow that to happen, right? Now, I'm not saying that work should hook you up with somebody, but accommodations to allow you to go out and look for that somebody, right? I mean, I used to be somebody who wanted to look for somebody. 10 years ago when I began my career, I found that my colleagues could go home, take care of their families. If I went home at 5 o'clock to go look for somebody to start the family with, people thought I was wasting my time. They didn't want to hear me go to the office telling them about who I met at somewhere last Friday night, right? But if my colleagues said, last weekend we went to so-and-so, right? My spouse and I, my children and I, that was perfectly fine, right? I always felt it was not a level playing field. And so I thought, if we're going to talk family leave, what about pre-family leave, right? Accommodations to allow you to hook up with the right person to start a family with. And so I was talking about this with my subscriber, and he said it was ripe for abuse. And I said, well, what kind of abuse? And he goes, well, don't you think you could have a single guy who's actually solosexual, right? Not really looking for somebody, and he's taking this pre-family leave to go out and have fun with himself, and then by the time he's 40 and 50 years old, he's still single and childless. And my response to that is, so what? Let's say you got a guy who decides to spend some time in Wallace, Idaho, because that's where he's accepted for being solosexual, and he does even better at his job because he's surrounded by people who accept him for who he is. And, well, that's kind of the life I've been living over the last 2 years. I don't see anybody missing out on that. I teach at a technical college, at a tutoring center, and these last 2 years have seen some of the best performance reviews I've ever seen in my lifetime, right? I don't run into conflict with my colleagues over differences, right? I don't have to... See, I have differences in lifestyle as well, right? Especially my diet, right? Back in 2019... I spent too much time arguing with people that I have to refuse food, right? At one of my my former boss turned 60 years old and had a big party, and she made a scene about me not having some of her birthday cake. I mean, I was there at the party, and I was able to talk to people and all that, and meet some of her family members. I mean, why does the party have to revolve around cake? That's the one thing I don't understand. When I was in Wallace, Idaho, and I got to see her turn 61, 62, oh, I didn't have to deal with any of that, right? And so what? So what? Right? Actually, pre-family leave is kind of a misnomer. It really should be human leave, right? Let's face it, if you have somebody who doesn't want to raise children for whatever reason, right? Whether it be a good reason or a bad reason, somebody doesn't want to raise children, do you really want them to raise the next generation? Do you want anybody to do something that they don't want to do? Is the result going to be any good, right? If somebody's doing a job that they're not passionate about, if they're in a relationship that they're not passionate about, do you want to force somebody to eat something that they don't want to eat? Is that going to be good for anybody else? I just don't understand it, right? Everybody has differences, right? So, yeah, instead of saying family leave, I think we should start calling it human leave, right? There's more to life than raising a family, right? So right now I'm programming the #1 AI for the game of Uno. I nicknamed the game Pokraine because Poland and Ukraine have been getting along so well recently. And The last time I named a game after a current event, it turned out very well, and I'm very moved by what I saw in Poland and Ukraine. Right now, as I speak, I'm getting ready to take some good photographs of Jupiter and Neptune in conjunction, because I want history to remember these last few years for things other than all the craziness, right? So I got Jupiter and Saturn in conjunction 2 years ago. Now it's Jupiter and Neptune's turn. And we need these things in our lives too, right? We need children, sure, but leave it to those who want to raise children to do it, right? Especially in a world where population is already out of control in the first place, right? There's nothing wrong with a few people taking themselves out of the gene pool, right? Especially people who don't want to raise children, right? Alright, thought I would clarify that. And yeah, if you own a business, why don't you start a human leave policy instead of a family leave policy, right? I used to do that, actually. I would, back when I wasn't fully solosexual. Today I wouldn't do that, but we would go onto the calendar to put in our vacation time, and there would be a title for what that for just remarks, basically, and I would say future wife search leave, and to raise a little bit of awareness that you have family leave and you have future wife search leave, right? All right, thanks for watching.